They're all saving one, or most of the Hampshire fielders are saving one. Somerset need one run. It's Edwards to Hildreth. He's there and bowls Hildreth, and he gets the run away through the onside, and Somerset have won. They've won the Royal London One Day Cup.
Hello there, you're listening to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. This is the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd. Joining me this evening, I've got President of Somerset County Cricket Club, Sir Peter Wanless, the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony Gibson, Somerset CCC Digital Guru Ben Warren has just gone beep beep, and I'm about to let him in now, a couple of minutes late. Evening, Ben, how you doing?
Are we doing all right?
Good. And so we're sitting pretty at the top of the South Group of the Vitality Blast, 3 wins out of 3. And who better to chat about that with than one of the all-time greats for Somerset in the shortest format of the game, leading T20 wicket taker, Max Waller. Maxie, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on this evening.
That's all right. Glad you can make it tonight. No nursery mishaps today for little Milo. It's meant you were otherwise engaged last week. Yes, I mean, what have you made of this the start to the Blast campaign?
Well, it's been brilliant. The guys have got all bases covered, it seems. Haven't really been tested too much yet. Probably the closest game was the Sussex game, but they've absolutely punished Hampshire on a helpful wicket, let's say. And then they played very well against Glamorgan last night, and to get over the line, albeit in a closer game than it should have been at Sussex. Yeah, they've started really well, and they look like they've got a really good side this year. They're in good position to win the competition, I think. Yeah,
I mean, you're obviously only sort of retired last year, so you'll still be really acquainted with all the guys and all the personalities in that dressing room. Do you who do you kind of see being the big players for Somerset this year that haven't sort of quite come to the party yet? Although they all pretty much have, really.
Yeah, I think Smead started slowly, but I think he's going to have a knock around the corner, I'm sure. And he just needs one knock to get him going, I guess. He hasn't played much cricket, having just signed a wide-ball contract. Actually, going to the start of the competition with probably not a huge amount of cricket, especially that level of cricket that you need to be ready for a competition like the Blast. But so that's probably one player that I think will come good at some point soon. But obviously the signing of the 2 overseas seamers has just made the side really well rounded. Obviously bringing Cola Cadmore as a like-for-like replacement for Riley Rousseau actually allowed Somerset to go down the bowling option route for the overseas players, which I think worked really well actually.
Yeah, sounds really good. I mean, I think you said it there when they said that Somerset have got all bases covered in this tournament, in this format of the game. Possibly one where they haven't really got a proven performer is in that second spinner role. So do you think we'll just go for the sort of you're smiling there. I mean, he's just a phone call away, Sarge. I'm sure he's just a phone call away. We've also got Shoaib Bashir, who's in the squad for tomorrow. Craig Overton's rested. Have you seen much of young Shoaib? Done any work with him in the nets or anything?
No, I haven't seen a huge amount, but I've had some really good feedback from the guys. I think he's actually a very, very good spinner. I know he's pretty one-dimensional. I don't think he's too sharp in the field or bats much, but he's a fantastic bowler. If they are playing on a helpful wicket, obviously his 4 overs could be vital. But Goldsworthy got 4 for today, I think, in the second team and scored some runs. So he's definitely going to be that second spinner role. I guess if they were going to play 2 spinners, I think he'd be the next one in. And he obviously he can bat as well, so it just adds depth at batting, which is obviously very strong anyway. But Lamby's obviously struggled to start the competition, and potentially that number 5 spot, actually Goldsworthy with his spin option could be the one way to go, I guess. Obviously, Sean Dixon's been going well as well in the second team of the bat, so he's someone else they could potentially bring in that middle order. But I think they'll stick with Lamby for a little while, as they should. He's done fantastically well over the last few years. So, but I'm sure Lewis would be the next second spinner in if we were going to go that route.
Yeah, just double checking the squad for tomorrow. Goldsworthy's not in it, but Bashir is. So Gregory, Abel, Aldridge, Banton, Bashir, Davy, Green, Henry, Cola Cadmore, Lamby, Siddle, Smead and Van der Merwe in the squad for tomorrow. So I know you'd love to get Lewis in there, Gibbo. You're a big champion of Lewis Goldsworthy.
And Tom Lammonby isn't in any sort of form at all. He struggled down at Hove on Friday and was out very early on last time. And Hove never really looks as if he was going to get any runs. But he's a very talented player, so I agree with Max. I think he'll get another chance, and quite right too. But I think this is one of the strongest T20 sides I've seen Somerset put in the field. Max would know better than me, but I mean, I think this side can.
Gibbo does this. He starts off on one, and then he freezes, and then it will move himself inside where the Wi-Fi is a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I won't. I'll stay out here. But I think this is as good as the as.
No, he's gone again.
We agree.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if that's a backhanded compliment or not there, Max. He's, you've retired and Gibbo's up there saying this is the strongest.
No, I'm talking about the side that Max played in.
Oh, is it?
It's very, very strong. I do agree with Gibbo. This is a very strong side. Obviously, playing some fantastic teams, the likes of Butler, Pollard and Kieswetter and Trescothick and other names that are fantastic cricketers for Somerset over a long period of time. I think this side is probably up there with as any of those sides that I played in. So, they've got, like I say, a fantastic chance of doing really well in this competition. Obviously, get to the knockout stage, I don't think being a problem. But obviously, when you get there, it's who performs best on the day. And T20 is a bit like that. If one guy has a day out, it can ruin the evening. But hopefully, Somerset can come good this year. They've got, like I say, real good side and all bases covered.
So you've got quite a busy year coming up, Max. Testimonial season. That all kicked off on 17th of March with a dinner with Joss up at the county ground, and then plenty of events planned all through this year. But how does that feel to be given a testimonial by the club that you've turned up for a number of years?
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously delighted and very proud. I went to a number of events for other players throughout the year, and the legends of the club, and to be awarded one, obviously saying I'm very, very pleased and grateful for. Seems a bit bizarre having retired and then having one this year, but no, like I say, absolutely brilliant, and trying to make the most of it. Had a fantastic opening dinner at the ground on the 17th of March, and Joss came down, which is nice to see him again. I don't see him a huge amount, but testament to him that he was so willing to help me after not really seen him or spoken to him for a long period of time, and kind of worked around his schedule. He's obviously an extremely busy man with the IPL and stuff and England duties, so to have him there at the ground was brilliant, and those that were there that evening, I'm sure enjoyed his company. I've got a few things coming up this month, June, down in South Devon. I've got a cricket match against South Devon. They usually do something down at Newton Abbott for most testimonial years, and we've jumped on board, and they've been brilliant in supporting me this year. So they're going to host an event down there. Hopefully get some of most of the T20 side down there, and a few bigger names to do a Q&A before the start of the game.
Well, saying about bigger names, Max, I had an email from Tractor today asking about tickets, so I don't think we can get a bigger name than Tractor down there. So
yeah, that's true. That is true. I haven't seen Tractor for a long time, but that'd be brilliant to have his support. And if anyone is around down the South Devon area, please do come along. Should be a fantastic evening, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Just want to get all the paperwork out the way of all the stuff that's been going on. But yeah, we've had the Somerset testimonial guys down for a number of years. Chris Gale making a guest appearance for Pete Trigo's testimonial way back in 2015. That was just a ridiculous night. Have a look on YouTube. It's absolutely incredible. Well, number one, the amount of rum that he drank, and number two, the way he just threw himself into it. Just a legend of a man, just an absolute legend of a guy, was the wild boss. So what does kind of the future hold for you now, Maxie? Now you sort of you've hung your spikes up.
You've gone straight into coaching. Something I wanted to do post play. I feel like I've got a lot to give in the coaching department. Still, obviously, need to get a lot of experience because it's very different to playing. As I'm sure you guys are aware, it's a very unselfish skill as a coach, and as a player, even though you're playing in a team, it's a pretty selfish thing to do. So, professional sport. I'm really looking forward to that journey. I'll start out at Exeter University full time with Alex Barrow, who's head of cricket down there, and working with him closely, which has been really good. Working both with men and women, both high performance stuff, and do the fielding for the Somerset Academy, which has been brilliant. Matt Drakeley's got me involved in that. again, working with some really good, talented young lads. And the Western Storm women have been doing their fielding in the winter as well. So I've been keeping busy, and lots of kind of quite diverse as well. So working with men and women at different levels. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's just the start of the journey. I want to see how far it can take me. Kind of want to, I think, long term, want to specialise in the fielding consultancy side of things, because fielding is my big passion, as well as obviously offering some assistance with some spin bowling, and especially in wild ball cricket.
You got to sort of keep your art going as kind of a side gig as well. And
no, I think that ship sailed. I think that was a bit of a COVID hobby. I think I had a lot of time on my hands and ended up doing some art to kill some time. I don't have that time anymore. Having got a little one since then, and a second one on the way soon. So I won't have time to sit down and do some art for hours on end, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame. I mean, that thing you did for Trez, that picture, that was a really special moment. Any Somerset fan watching that YouTube video that Ben put together, that little presentation in the indoor school, had a dry eye, and I'm just welling up thinking about it. I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. Moving along, I'm obviously a tremendous career over a number of years for yourself at Taunton. What are the memories that really kind of stick out for you over that sort of 10, 15 years or so?
I think that every time I played T20 under lights, I think it's an amazing atmosphere. I missed that. First time I went to a game actually the other day, not being involved, and I definitely missed the buzz of being out there with the lads, especially taking wickets and catches in the outfield, and missing that interaction with the fans and that the vibe around the ground. It's very, very different as a spectator, and I obviously found it quite difficult. It's just very, very different, and definitely something I missed, that feeling of being out there with the guys, being successful. Obviously won a lot of games at Taunton, so I'll miss that feeling definitely. And it's obviously some great memories as well, which is things to look back on and stuff I'm very proud of. The Champions Leagues I went on to India, playing at some of the best players in the world in different conditions, was pretty special. I missed my first class debut again. Was one of those things that sticks quite fondly in my memory, because that's what I wanted to do when I first started out, was play 4-day cricket, and grew up watching Shane Warne, and he was fantastic at Test cricket, and wanted to try and emulate what he was doing at the time, and obviously got nowhere near the successes he had. But all 4-day cricket was always a strong passion I wanted to achieve and play more of. Obviously my career didn't work out that way, but my debut, and we won a game at Hove with Alfonso, took 5 for, but I got a couple of wickets. I think I got Matt Pryor out in the first innings, and those sort of memories, things that you don't forget. Some of the players I played against and with are pretty special, and I've got some fun memories. I've got a few celebrations to look back on videos and stuff that Ben had put together in the past, so which is pretty cool. And so I'll always have good memories, and I think that's what I love about creating memories and special moments. And they've definitely got a few of those from my career.
I think one that sticks out for all Somerset fans is the AB de Villiers catch off Tom Lammonby at sort of Cow Corner. Could you sort of remember that in your mind, kind of what happened there, and just sort of a little bit in, a little bit of a back pedal, and boom, up goes the arm, and then the...
Yeah, probably actually a night to forget for me with the ball, and we lost. But that one ball individual moment, the atmosphere at the ground was fantastic that evening. The catch was instinctive. I was probably a little far in actually on those boundaries at Taunton, a couple of yards too far in, and ended up having to backpedal a couple of yards. But he obviously, the noise off the bat is incredible. He crunched it. Stuck up a hand, got off the ground, and like I said, pride myself on my feeling. But if I dropped that, I'd have been a seriously dark place. It's one of those things that stick. I took one actually fairly similar to that. That was before stuff we recorded at Canterbury off Sam Billings in a one-day game of Tim Grunewald, a deep mid wicket, similar sort of thing. But hit the floor. Just one of those things you practice in training, and sometimes in the game they stick, sometimes they don't. But to have to, again, create memories like that, fantastic.
Yeah, that was, you're right. There was a highlight of an otherwise a little bit of a night to forget. We just ran into two of the best players in the world in AB and Owen Morgan playing at their best, and they just seemed to be an irresistible force that night.
Tom Abel got 100. That wasn't bad.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I remember the 101 off 45 balls, something like that.
Yeah. I remember a catch that Max took at the Aegeus Bowl, running towards the hotel with the ball coming over his right shoulder, and he flung yourself towards the hotel and caught it two-handed, just an inch or two. I thought that was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that probably, for difficulty perspective, I think it was a more difficult catch actually. The lights at Aegeus aren't brilliant. It was a really windy evening. Like I said, I made some yards, and I just remember getting up, just shouting in Bavar's face. Bavar was hugging me, which is again pretty cool.
It was just an amazing moment. Brilliant catch.
Nowhere near it, and got the guys around me. That's definitely a higher level catch, I'd say. The one, the AB de Villiers one was a bit more instinctive, but definitely in the field, I like to feel like I've contributed as well as my bowling. My fielding is obviously something that I pride myself on. So to be able to hold on to some good catches over the years as well is pretty pleasing.
One of my favourite Max catches, I think, was you won't remember it. Well, you might, Max, was at Chelmsford, and I think it was Dan Lawrence, and let's just say it wasn't your best ball ever, and he just tonked it straight up in the air back to you, and I just remember everyone looked at one another as if, how did that happen? And it was just hilarious to see these poor Essex supporters seeing a wicket falling quite like that. But there you go, they all count.
But thankfully, I don't remember that one actually. I do remember most of my wickets, but I don't remember that one. I've had a few short bowls as well over the years. I don't remember that one, but I'm sure I've landed a few balls close to my feet and got some wickets for them. So, I say they all count. It doesn't say no pictures in the book, and thankfully there's no record in the video of that one either. So that's good.
Yeah. Ben, I mean, you've obviously put together hours and hours of stuff, of footage and stuff, compiling sort of highlight videos and things like that, and obviously watching Max's career over the years. What's your best memories of Maxie?
Oh yeah, I mean, so many great moments, and it's been an absolute privilege over the time to work with Max. Loves the stat, Max. If I'm wrong on anything, you'll soon correct me on the stat side of things. So you keep me on my toes with that. But yeah, I think just the way that you went about it, and just the way that you interacted with the fans on social media, you weren't a robot or a puppet. Like, you weren't scared to speak your mind and tell people your opinion. And I think people respected that, and I think people respected you as a cricketer, but also how you went about it. So I think that's what I'll remember, is that you're always very keen to get involved in any community projects, any filming projects that we needed to do. If someone wanted a birthday shout out, you were always one of the ones to put your hand up and say, yeah, I'll do it. And you were always at content day, going up to Birmingham, doing all the ECB content videos and stuff. So yeah, I think just that's the biggest thing that will stand out for me. It's just not just what you did on the field, but how you went about it and how you acted in a professional and personable manner, really.
That mention about the stat reminds me, that catch that he took at the Aegeus Bowl was initially credited to someone else, wasn't it, Max? And you and I and Polly Rhodes got together and had the scorecard changed. I can't remember who it was now, but it might have been Babar Azam. But it was the most brilliant catch you've ever seen. And next morning you looked in the paper and somebody else had caught it.
Yeah, that's the footage of that one.
We struggled to get footage, didn't we, Max? I think of that Aegeus Bowl catch. I think Hampshire, because they lost quite badly, refused to put out highlights. So I remember we were messaging each other and saying, "Oh, how can we get hold of the footage?" So we both sort of messaging various people at Hampshire Cricket just to say, appreciate you probably don't want to put your highlights up, but any chance that we could get a couple of bits from the game. Back in the day,
Hampshire, we do love them, don't we?
This was long before the days of rolling camera live streams and things like that. But we got it eventually, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, if you've still got it, Ben, stick it up, because I'm sure the listeners would love to see that that particular catch. While we're on stats, Max, 7.67. I believe that is your economy rate in T20s at Taunton. That's pretty decent for the highest scoring T20 ground in the world, bowling wrist spin. How do you? I think I remember you having a little wry smile after, was it Matty McKiernan got smashed for about 85 in 4 overs, and He's sort of looking around saying, "Yeah, that's not how you bowl leg spin at Taunton, Meladio." What's the sort of your method then for bowling in T20s at Taunton?
I think you need a different skill set, to be honest. You see most spinners come to Taunton and really struggle. Actually, I'd say 9 times out of 10, Roloff and I would have out-bowled the opposition spinners at Taunton just through know-how and how you bowl there is very different to how you bowl any other ground. I think in the competition, potentially Chelmsford's the only one that's fairly similar, just because of the size of the ground and the wicket being so good. But like Taunton's it doesn't leave straight, so you got to find other ways to deceive batters and actually mindset I think is different there at Taunton compared to other places. I think at Taunton you have to be really almost like a defensive mindset and accept ones are good, ones are winning. If you get the odd dot, then the over looks really good if you're not going for boundaries. So shutting down the boundaries, I think the side that hits the most boundaries at Taunton generally wins the game. So I'm not 100% on that stat, but it definitely over the years it's been the way. And you see how Roloff bowled the other night compared to Hatzig. I know he's in a bit of hiding to nothing. Then he's only 150, but is it Hatzigoglu? Is that
yeah.
It's worth a lot of Scrabble, however you pronounce it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but he's an international bowler. He's played franchise cricket and he's gone forwards to 50. First time he's played there. I've been at Taunton where Mujib's gone for 45, 50. And yeah, over the years I haven't gone for, I think the record's like I've gone for 40 4 times or 3 times. The most I've ever gone for is 43 in a game. In T20 cricket, of 140 games is pretty something I'm obviously very proud of. And yeah, Ben's right about the stats. I do know my stats, but when there's stats like that and you look back and think, that's pretty skillful, to be fair, to be able to put numbers on like that on the board. But again, that's thanks to Roloff. Roloff again he bowls at the tough end, he bowls at tough times, which allows me to bowl through the middle and potentially be a slightly easier role, but still having to do a successful job for the side. It's definitely a know-how, definitely a feeling and understanding actually being defensive. I think in a mindset perspective, people are saying take wickets to stem the run rate, and yeah, absolutely, but you create wickets by not going for any boundaries, for sure, because then batters taking more risks in potentially doing things that you want them to do and not their plan A.
Well, you say about bowling the middle overs, but of course you did bowl the first over of the innings quite often, sort of towards the end of your career. Is that something that you sort of stuck your hand up and said, I think this would be a good idea, or were you kind of twisted your arm into doing that? How did that come about?
A little bit. I did a little bit in the second team, did really well, and I think it's one of those overs actually, people say it's a tough over. Yes, half they have 2 fielders out, but actually it's a nice over because batters don't really come out all guns blazing unless it's Finch and Roy. But even then, I remember them two having a look and knocking that first over around just to get themselves in. So the first over is quite a nice over to bowl. Actually, ask anyone that does it, they'll say it's quite a nice over. I remember part-timers actually did it for a little while, bowling off spin and stuff. Because batters don't generally, batters want to face pace on the ball in the first few overs, especially the power play, with the ball flying around everywhere. And then they started doing part-timers, and then spinners generally started doing it more frequently, and it's been quite a successful thing. I know at the moment the wicket how it is. I think Craigo and Henry are licking their lips bowling that first over the new ball, but we'll see what the next few wickets are like, and it might be something that they get Roloff to do, because I think it's an over it's a nice over to bowl, and if you know what you're doing, there's an opportunity to take wickets if a batter does take a risk.
Great stuff. Well, thanks, Maxi. It's been great hearing about all your careers and your highlights and your thoughts on the current T20 side. Shall we have a look back at these first 3 games then? Hampshire at Taunton on Wednesday. Repeat of last year's semi-final. What was on paper a really tough game, and bang, they're all out for 74 after a ridiculous opening spell from Craigo. Bowled his full 4 on the spin. 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 8. Matt Henry at the other end picking up 2 for 32. Pitch had a bit of life in it to start with, but I don't think it was particularly misbehaving as badly as some people have said it was. But yeah, shooting Hampshire out for 74, chasing it down in 10 overs. Perfect start.
Yeah.
It was,
I think that, you go, Anthony.
Well, no, I'd just say it was a pretty juicy pitch. I mean, there was quite a significant seam movement, and there was pace and bounce. And Overton and Matt Henry made the absolute most of it. But it was one of those evenings when whatever could go right did go right. and there'll be other evenings when it'll be the other way around. But they were brilliant. The only thing that worries me is Will Smead's rustiness, not having played any top-level cricket for a long time. I thought he looked better last night, just beginning to time the ball. But even the six that he hit, he didn't really time properly. But he'll come back. And Tom Banton, I think, has really matured. I think he's batting much better. I spoke to him last night. He said he's not premeditating as he has done, and decided what shot he's going to play before the bowler's bowled him. He's waiting until the ball's coming down and then making his mind up. And Mark Davis, who Max knows very well, and sends you his regards, Max, good old pooch. He says he reckons that Tom has got a little less bottom hand in his shots now as well. So he's stronger through the offside, and he hit a lovely straight drive down the ground last night as well. So that's a real plus. But no, I think the only thing that has worried me slightly was the sort of jitteriness towards the end of the game at Hove on Friday night, when we had it absolutely sewn up, and then Tom Kodakapo got himself out, and then Tom Lammonby was out, and then Tom Abel was out, and the nerves set in. Unfortunately, Ben Green stepped up to the plate and knocked off the runs without, as cool as you like. And I do think Ben Green is a very much improved cricketer. And he's bowled well too. He's bowling Yorkers. He bowled them better at Hove on Friday night than he did last night, because they were mostly full tosses. But even so, last night, a low full toss is still a useful delivery. And he's becoming, I think, a very important part in that side. And it's good to see. So I'm hard pressed to see any weaknesses in it, apart from Tom Lammonby's form, and form is temporary and class is permanent, and all of that sort of thing. But if we don't get through to the quarterfinals, I'll be very, very surprised and even more disappointed. But it's been a great start. It
has, yeah. Lam was a little bit scratchy at Hove. What was a little bit disappointing for me was he got out in exactly the same way last night as he did Friday night. There was a man back at deep fine leg, and he scooped it down his throat at Hove, and he scooped it down his throat last night as well. But I mean, we all know how good a player he is. He's going to come good, so there's nothing really to worry about there. It's a big season for Will Smead, because after you make the decision to focus solely on white ball cricket, there will be a few naysayers, doom-mongers, whatever you call them, will say, "Oh, what's he doing?" So you just put that little bit of more pressure on yourself to come out and prove those guys wrong and not give them any ammunition. I mean, he didn't get much of the strike Wednesday night, and he looked a little bit scratchy. I agree with Gibbo. He's improved over those 3 games. I mean, he's got to come good, isn't he? He's such a talented guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think that again, it's always going to come. With now he's into his second, third, fourth seasons. People are going to be analysing his technique, and now he's playing post cricket. The scrutiny on his game is at an all-time high, but I think he just needs to learn. I think sometimes he can be a bit one-dimensional in where he's trying to hit the ball. And he's always going for so maybe 2 or 3 of the same shot. But that'll come. I think he'll learn to pace innings slightly differently. And I think Anthony's right. I think his knock last night certainly will give him some confidence, and I think it's brilliant the fact that you've got a top 4 now, that he's got the freedom to play, knowing that there's plenty of runs in the tank, and it is difficult in the power play sometimes because you are under pressure to score, particularly at Taunton, at an extremely high rate.
There was an interesting interview in the Times, I think, with Will Smead, where he talked about how he hasn't spent the last 2 months practicing leaving the ball outside the off stump, so it has given him time to try some other shots, which I thought was really interesting. So although people may have worked him out, he may well have, with a little bit more time in the middle, worked out some other kind of counter-attacking shots that he can use as well. So he's a confident young man, isn't he? And he knows his own mind, and I think he'll come good. And it's a small thing in the overall scheme of things, isn't it, with the others firing so well.
Mark says he's hanging back in the crease too much. Needs to get more on the front foot. But that's a professional coach's point of view. But I think there is a problem, because unless he gets signed up by some of the like by the big franchises like the IPL or the Big Bash, he's not going to get much cricket other than in the Blast and the 100. And I think that really showed, particularly against Hampshire, when he just looked rusty, frankly, and Bridgewater are a bloody good club side, but it's not like playing top level cricket in front of 7,000 people at Taunton.
Yeah, I mean, you say sort of about developing the new shots. He's never really looked like he's going to be the kind of player to play all the flicks and the ramps and the scoops, that sort of thing. The way that Banton does, he looks more like a power hitter down the ground over mid wicket, bashing it through the covers. Did play a lovely square drive last night that was straight out the textbook. So I think he's got it there. It's just part of me is saying that at 21, you need to be wherever there's an opportunity to play at whatever level it is. You take it and play it, and you're just incrementally developing just by playing and playing and playing. And there's only kind of so much you can work on in the nets to improve. There's a lot of it is just playing and playing and playing. And okay, it may be a second 11 game in front of one man and his dog in an outground somewhere, but it's about playing. It's about facing different types of bowling, not just being on the bowling machine all the time. So yeah, I think like I say, it's a big big season from this year, big Blast campaign, just to try and prove himself right in this career path that he has taken. What other little tidbits do we need to chat about from these? These three games. I mean,
I've seen two on the stream, the Taunton ones, and was at Hove, and I thought that the fielding at Hove was spectacular. I mean, some of the catches were out of this world.
Gregory's caught and bowled, different level.
Abel, the one that he took kind of running in. You see so many of those where people don't quite make it, and they talk about should you go for it or shouldn't you go for it and save the four. I mean, there's just no doubt in his mind. The moment that ball went up in the air, he was herring after it, and I just thought that was. I mean, the catching was great on Wednesday as well, wasn't it? But Hove is a small ground, and I think the bowling the ball fast, it goes off the bat quick as well, doesn't it? And that was a challenge for Matt Henry, and also time to Mal Mills is a bit hit or miss because the ball's coming so fast when it's going down the hill. So I thought we played really well there too. Actually, yeah, there was that little sort of hiccup towards the end, but apart from Bapara, no one else really got going, and every time the ball was in the air, apart from there was one, wasn't there, where
Tom dropped one. Tom dropped one.
Oh, right towards the end, and that was a problem, wasn't it? Because then Matt Henry bowled a no ball, waist high sort of full toss, the next ball. So that was really costly. We'd have won the game with ease if it hadn't been for that. But overwhelmingly, apart from Bapara, no one really got going, and our fielding was spectacular.
It was, and Roloff was brilliant as well. Roloff van der Merwe.
Yeah, he's always brilliant.
He bowled his 4 overs against Ravi Bapara, who was really, steaming along. And what did he go for? About 16, something like that.
1 for 15 off his 4, and 3 for 24 off his 4 last night. So
yeah, just brilliant. He gets better as he gets older.
And then Ravi Bapara he bowled really well. These sort of 50 mile an hour sort of dobblers, and that made me wonder about sometimes when we haven't played very well and we've conceded too many runs in these games, people have said, all our bowling's all the same, it's kind of up and down, right arm, fast medium, and it should be pace off and all that, and we haven't really needed to go to pace off. But I did wonder, with Roloff bowling as well as he did and Ravi Bapara bowling as well as he did, what is it about our bowling that has made it so effective this year compared with previous years? Is it that little bit faster?
No, I think Ben Green is doing the pace-off stuff. He bowled really well last night. Taking the pace off, mixing it up. I mean, he bowled, he bowled really well at Hove as well, with lots and lots of overs, and again changing his pace. And he's been a revelation to me, Ben Green, in the last couple of games. I think he's bowled really well. He's added another dimension to the attack. It would be lovely to have Benny Howell, bowling for us or someone like that. But they don't come along very often. And Ben Green is moving in that direction. And couple that with his batting ability, which is very, very, and his cool head as well. He's got a really good cool head on his shoulders, and I think he's a key member of that side now.
I think the leadership experience that he had last year in the One Day Cup's also given him a lot more confidence that he can contribute. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he was called up for the 100.
I thought exactly the same as that, Ben. Just before we came on, I was just thinking exactly the same. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets called up for the 100, and then we're really in the cart when it comes to the over.
Sorry, just going back to that variation in the attack. I actually think our seamers are different, although they're all right arm. I think they are very different. I think Craigo generally looks to swing the ball away early on, gets bounced. Matt Henry's more like nip bowler, like hits the pitch, so he's looking to hit hard length as well. But if the wicket is offering anything assistant laterally, he's going to exploit it. Siddle's a very, very skillful performer. He's actually real good at the end of the innings. Has been in the Big Bash for a number of years. And then Lewis has done really well this year. Lewis
yes, he has.
In all formats, but he's kind of got that confidence back, and he's been taking wickets during the middle overs. Actually, at a crucial time, I think he's the economy rate under 5 this year, which is obscene.
Yep.
He's bowled real well, so he's got that option. He bowls a lot of slow balls, and he's wily. He changes his pace. So you're right about haven't been challenged really on a slow low wicket or something where we actually have to be a bit more smart with our variations and stuff. But like you say, Ben Green's got that. You got that option with him. You can also have Lammers. Lammers can bowl some cutters and things like that. Pace off option, left arm if you need that variation. But the guys at the moment are doing a fantastic job. And Rudolph is like you say, he's getting better with age. He's had a really, really good win in that SAT20 competition. Come off the back of that really well. So he's flying, and I'm sure he'll have a great competition.
I think it will be fascinating to see how they go on those slow, the Gloucesters, the Glamorgans, maybe even the Kents tomorrow night. Sometimes that can be a one more for the spinners. But I think that is traditionally where we've, Maxi aside, have struggled really, haven't we? We've often been beaten up on particularly at Gloucester. So whether Shoaib Bashir is pushed ahead of Goldsworthy in the pecking order now, it would be interesting to see whether even might play all Goldsworthy, Bashir and Ruller in one or two of the games. It'd be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, it's just talking about the pace option last night. We closed off the innings last night, leaving Overton and Henry with overs in the bank. So I think it was Gregory, Green and Siddle will bowl the last 3 overs of that Glamorgan innings. Because to be fair, they did get off to a bit of a flyer in that power play. Eddie Byron making a statement to his former employers about why he maybe should have got another couple of years on his contract. He was smashing the ball round to all parts of the county ground. So yeah, did incredibly well to pull it back. I think Lewis Gregory's captaincy's been absolutely spot on. It was a sort of an 11th hour appointment. I did notice in that picture you sent me over for Max's brochure that I'm doing that Abe's is sat in the front and centre in the captaincy position. So I presume it was kind of intended that Abe's would be taking over the T20 or continuing T20 captaincy, and it just sort of changed a little bit 11th hour. But yeah, I mean, flexibility. We looked at Craigo bowled his 4 overs on the spin Wednesday night against Hampshire, and that was, it was obviously the right thing to do. It was clearly in his favour. He's not sticking to any sort of pre-formulated bowling plans. Interesting field placings as well. I don't know if any of you who were there last night picked this up, but when Chris Cook was facing the quicker of the seamers, like some Matt Henry, Roloff was stood on the edge of the circle at short fine leg, but he wasn't kind of facing the bat as you normally would do. He was kind of turned. Yes, he was turned side on, almost to try and be able to dive forward and take a catch from the scoop. That was the only thing I could think that there was would be the reason for doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. He was sort of like turning towards the Brian Rose gate a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was a strange thing, but we all Roloff loves an innovation, and praise Lewis Gregory was quite happy to let him get on with it. Right then, no Craigo in the squad for tomorrow. He's rested. Who are we bringing in for him? Then I'm going straight, so I'm going Josh Davey in for Craig, and then keeping the same side.
Well, Casey Aldridge would be the alternative.
Yeah, I think JD
close run thing. I think between Casey and Josh Davey.
Yeah, I think JD's just been that proven performer over a number of years with a ball and obviously with the bat. He's got us out the proverbial more than one occasion over the years. So I think JD is a more than capable replacement for Craigo. Get him in the team, get some overs in his legs.
JD was going through quite a stringent warm-up process at Hove before, so I think they're just sort of still managing him with his injury bits and bobs. But yeah, he looked like he was sending them down pretty well in the warm-up at Hove. So yeah.
I think Josh is ahead of Casey in the T20 stuff, just through, I think T20 experience counts for so much in that form of the game. I think actually having Josh who's been there and done that and played a lot of white ball cricket, even if it's been 50 over cricket, and he's bowled at death and up top, he's a bit more versatile. I think Casey's probably through the middle at the moment, sort of bowler, and you need a power play option, and Josh has done that a fair few times. I know Casey and Craig are similar star bowlers, but probably, well, I know Josh will be ahead of Casey in the pecking order for T20 cricket.
It's an important fixture, this one. It's the Wanless family grudge match, so Wanless Junior is looking forward to it, and Kent aren't doing too badly. They lost to Surrey, but I think they've won their other two games. So
beat Gloucester.
Oh, anybody can beat Gloucester.
Yeah. But we're on a good run now. Having been to Canterbury...
Gloucester have won today.
2 runs, I saw.
I watched that, actually. I sat in the garden and watched that on the live stream, and famous last words, but, we look so much better than both those teams. But, yeah, it gave me... I enjoyed watching it, and it was quite a close game, but, yeah, it gave me some confidence for the campaign, watching them sort of slug it out in a not entirely competent fashion.
Gloucesters are really going to miss Benny Howell. Really miss him. He was, he was their figurehead.
And Higgins as well.
Yeah. Yeah, who's big, who led the way for the Gloucesters when they beat us a couple of years ago. Yeah, you playing in that one, Max, when he smashed it for 6 when they needed a few off the last over?
Yeah.
Added to the apartments.
They're both dangerous cricketers, and they both do similar sort of things. And at Gloucester, they're really, really useful bowlers as well on those sort of pitches. And, yeah, that'd be a big loss and tough to replace actually for Gloucestershire.
They've still got David Payne though. He's pretty useful.
And Marchant de Lange, who on his day, he's as good as anybody. Marchant. He has some. To be fair to him, he did have some bloody good days with us to the ball in the T20 last year. So I'm sure he'll be another one who's keen to make a statement against his former employers. Just for context, and the Vitality Blast table, South Group, Somerset atop with 6 points from 3 games, net run rate at 2.58, and that's all you need to know. Just one thing from the Glamorgan game. Poor old fella nearly wore that Lewis Gregory 6 towards the end of our innings in the flats. I don't know if you picked up on it, but I was sort of sat more or less the back row of the Somerset stand and it clobbered it in. And then there was sort of this pause, and then about 10-15 seconds later, this sort of wispy white haired face just kind of popped up over the balcony to say, what on earth's going on here? And that's, I'm not quite sure of the wisdom of falling asleep on your balcony while there's a T20 going on. Maybe a championship game, unless TKC's batting. But we get some sort of alarm system in place, Ben, or something like that, just to wake everybody up in the flats. Yeah. It was TKC at one. I think went even higher than that. That was 2nd or 3rd tier of the flats. TKC at one, and then Lewis's went in the bottom tier. But glad that old fella's okay. Yeah. Right. Are we done on the blast then? Anything more to talk about these last 3 games that have gone on. I think it's all been pretty much plain sailing. Just keep the momentum going, build on that. So Kent away tomorrow night, and then we've got Middlesex on Friday and Essex at Taunton on Sunday. Who's got to put their hand in their pocket and pay $5.99 for the stream then? Well, Peter, you're going to be there. Gibbo, you're going to be there. Betty, are you going as well?
I'm not going to this one, but I've managed to secure a free streaming pass off of Kent Cricket. But I was only allowed one for me and Gordon and Andy Hurry and Scott Thomas, the analyst. So they were very, very, very stringent on who they were able to give out passes to.
I'll take you a couple of photographs for you, Sheps.
Just hold your phone up, Pete. I just want you to get on. What can you do on Twitch? Are you a Twitcher?
Just listen to the commentary on the BBC Sport website. You don't need
there's
pictures.
a thought.
We always listen to the commentary. It was fantastic on what was it? Lancashire. You've been on the stream. Sussex last night, and there was 1 or 2 more. Let me have a look round. Middlesex. You weren't on Middlesex. How'd you think that? But yeah, I mean, as a more serious point, Ben, Kent were the first to stick their heads above the parapet on this, and instantly, we do know the Somerset fans do like a tweet, and more often than not, a moaning tweet. Is this the way that it's going? Have there been any discussions about doing this for our streams, or?
Well, I mean, it's obviously an interesting kind of, it's surprised everyone. I think we were.
Kent as well, they're not even any good. I mean, if it was Surrey, you could probably understand it, but
hang on, they won it 2 years ago.
Well,
they've been up a fair few times as well. So that's a big statement, that.
Yeah, that's definitely put the mockers on it.
I mean, Sussex tried it probably 5 or 6 years ago, and quickly sort of abandoned the plans when things started to go wrong technically, and they were giving out refunds and things like that. But it's really interesting. Who knows what the future holds in terms. You look at anything can happen. But yeah, I think from our point of view, got to be a very quality product. To charge $5.99 a game for. I think this is their first paid for game. I think they did the Gloucester game for free as like a trial. So it'd be very interesting to see what sort of reception they get from both sets of fans. How many people watch it? There'll be a lot of people. I know I've had some brief chats with the guys at Kent, just inquiring, how they got about it, what they're going to do in terms of numbers and things like that. So we'll see. I mean, I say from our point of view, we've got no immediate plans on charging for it. We, as everyone knows, we make some money through advertising, and that helps us sort of produce a sort of a cost neutral operation. It's an interesting step for sure.
A question on that. Do you reckon it'll drive people to come to the game more if they're not willing to pay the subscription? They'd rather pay the extra, whatever it costs for a ticket to come and watch the match?
Well, it depends on the format and a lot of other sort of factors. I think the way I've always seen live streaming is that county cricket doesn't get a lot of love from external media these days. There's not a lot. If you look around the broadsheet newspapers, the online, they're all in either other sports or they're in other franchise tournaments around the world. So I've always seen the stream as sort of our biggest marketing tool, really. We get that many people that are watching your product where you can use it to communicate with people, use it to kind of get the name of county cricket out there and try and inspire people to come and watch it. So I think there's maybe a short term, there might be a few people that don't come and watch a game so they can watch it on the stream, but I think that the notion around county cricket is that more and more people, it's a way of engaging and getting your brand out there and getting people involved in the sport we all love. So it's a fascinating debate as to what the lots of long term pluses and minuses of going behind paywalls and things like that are. I think it's the golden question: how much money would you make versus the trade off? Would you lose out on advertising revenue? Would you lose out on fans that could become members, that could become ticket holders. So we'll certainly keep a close eye on it. And myself and a few others are all trying to decipher what's the next steps, really.
I mean,
I'm all in favour of it. More paywalls, the better. The more people will listen to the BBC, listen to me and Mark Davis. Get quality commentary.
Oh. Bloody hell, Gibbo. How many of those wines have you had? That's proper fighting talk. What time did you start doing Cider Shack today?
The really big news is that my new commentary box is arriving tomorrow.
Oh.
It's, what's it called? Gibbo's Rustic Bus Shelter. That was calling it. But it's in a fantastic position where we were last night under the gazebo in the corner of the Thatcher's Terrace. A fantastic view.
Well, it was supposed to be arriving tomorrow.
Well done, Somerset County Cricket Club.
It was supposed to be arriving. It was supposed to be arriving tomorrow, Gibbo.
Well, I know it was, but
all
things come to those who wait. Yeah.
That's true. What are we going to do with them? Sorry, Pete, you go.
I just said, no, we'll all come and see you for autographs. We'll queue for autographs in orderly fashion on Friday night.
Absolutely. You must come up, and come up and see us tomorrow night as well in the in the commentary box.
And
we're not far from you at the pavilion. We're just around the corner.
Yeah,
in the corner of the stand between the pavilion and the Frank Woodley stand.
Okay.
Was cool.
So does this mean Friday night we're finally going to have the Viking longboat burning Gibbo's commentary cabin drifting down the Tone, never to be seen again?
We've got plenty of uses for that. It's officially going to be turned into a store cupboard.
What? No way.
I need somewhere to work remotely.
Well, that would be absolutely ideal.
I'd be luxurious.
You won't be distracted by the play because you can hardly see it.
We could rent it out. I suspect there's
it could be sort of a remote. See, that was one of my ideas for County Cricket that I had many moons ago. Is if you're remote working, so you just got yourself and your laptop, and you just needed a space to work at the cricket, a sort of, not necessarily you don't want to spend all the money on a hospitality box, but just somewhere where you can sit and watch the cricket and have your laptop on with a bit of Wi-Fi, a little bit of coffee somewhere. That'd be ideal.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, tell Caroline about that when you get in tomorrow. That'll be a few extra quid in the pay packet there. Oh, actually, don't send it to me. Oh, right, we're cracking on then. This is a bloody long one tonight. Right, listeners' questions then. One for you, Max. Your favourite film, food and song? That's from John Hayes.
Film would be Law Abiding Citizen.
Oh, was that the
Gerard
Butler? Yeah.
Yeah. Food, steak and chips. Can't beat a good steak. Medium rare with a peppercorn sauce. And then what was the last one, sorry?
Favourite song?
I'm a bit of a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, to be honest. So the one Somerset walk out to, Can't Stop. Or used to walk out to.
When I saw that from John, I was trying to think of something that could be a film, a food and a song. Red Hot Chili Peppers could kind of be two of those.
Yeah.
So, listeners, if you can think of something that's a film, food, and a song, do get in touch. Rightio, where should we go then? Ben, are you officially working tonight?
Depends what the question is.
Well, I think you probably know what the question is because you were tagging quite a few threads on this. Shall we say teething problems with the ticketing app? Yeah.
We've had a few things with the ticket app that we're working on. I guess we're going through a single sign-on process that I'm sure everyone's aware of. It's something that a lot of sports clubs are going through. A lot of Premier League football clubs have gone through it. A lot of clubs are going through it now. It is a tricky process. It was never going to be a completely clean process. There have been some challenges along the way, but rest assured we're kind of working really hard on making it as best as we possibly can. And I do genuinely think that in the coming weeks and months, once people have migrated, the experience will be really seamless moving forward, and we can do a lot more with it. And I know Gordon mentioned in his letter, but it is a case of short-term pain, long-term gain. And yeah, we're just trying the best. Everyone that's come to us with a problem, we've been able to sort. There's never been any sort of major problems on the gates or anything like that. You know how these things can build up in Facebook groups and that sort of thing. But there's probably been a couple of hundred people out of 15 or 16,000 have entered the ground, and the ones that are having no problems at all or have done it fine, you don't hear from those 15,800 people. So yeah, not denying that there's some tweaking to do, and we're working hard on it. But I'm sure that once we've gone through the next sort of few weeks, the sort of rainbow sky will be with us.
Good stuff. I've got a question for you. Hypothetically, what would happen if you were to rebroadcast your copy of the Kent stream tomorrow night through the Somerset YouTube channel?
Well, we were genuinely thinking about putting it on our big screen and inviting people to come and watch. But we like Kent. If it had been, we like the people at Kent. They're nice.
It'd be a bit
fun.
awkward with the president being there in the house, and all of a sudden they get all these phones getting shoved in his face. What are your lot doing, Pete? What are your lot doing?
And we like Kent.
So that's a no then.
No.
I might have to stick my hand in my pocket. I just had a brief thought actually with reference to the point about encouraging local people to go to the game. Let's say you are, when you put your credit card details in, you've got to put your postcode in, and if your postcode isn't, what would it be for Canterbury, TN or CT or whatever it is? CT, TN would be Tunbridge Wells. I'm not sure if Cadbury's in the Tunbridge Wells. Very good. So if you haven't got a CT postcode, you can get it for like £1. If you have got a CT postcode, you've got to pay. Something to think about. Anyway, moving on. There's a lot of chatter going on the questions thread tonight. Andy Cleve, how impressed were you with Lewis Gregory's captaincy? I think we've all covered that one, Andy. All very impressed. This is a good one. So, should we look to bat first in a game or keep to the winning formula of bowling first and chasing? At some point during the competition, we will need to set a total. Thoughts?
Well, Mark keeps saying that we ought to bat first. Back ourselves. We've got a fantastically strong batting lineup, but I don't think it matters too much. In all honesty, I think we can win games of T20 cricket with that side, whether we bat first or bat second. And if they're happier chasing, well, so be it. I trust in Lewis.
I think all the games so far, it's been the correct call to chase. There's been significant benefits in chasing. I mean, I'm assuming that Lewis Gregory won't win 14 tosses, so I imagine at some point will be inserted. So, but I don't think you should. You've got a formula that works. I don't think you should go away from that just for the sake of trying something different.
What was sort of the preferred way around of doing things when you were playing, Max? Did it kind of always sort of stay the same, or sort of varying with different captains and different squads that you had over the years? I think Max is frozen. Either that or he's really, really giving me the stink eye. I think Max is frozen.
Looking very serious.
We'll come back to that.
Knitted brows.
Chris Payne said, I think Chris is now replying to Andy's thing about experimenting. We'll lose the toss at some point. Gents, don't reply to each other's questions. They're for us. This gets really confusing now. This one from Dan. Dan has had his full pen. This one is about the issue with readmission after, what was it, 5 Appas 5 between the double. So it's a double header on Sunday. I think you could leave before 5 and come back, but if you left after 5, you weren't able to come back in, which is caused a bit of consternation. Dan's point is, what's the issue with my sitting in my seat for 3 hours, nipping out for an hour, and then sitting in my seat for 3 hours more, as opposed to sitting in my seat for 7 hours? I guess this is all a congestion, sort of crowd management issue, Ben and Pete, if you're across this as well.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, feel free to but yeah, absolutely, security, health and safety, customer experience, queuing. There are a lot of reasons why the double header is a logistical challenge to get people in and out. yeah, what could be quite challenging is if 4,000 people decide to nip off to the Ring of Bells for an hour and then
I don't think the landlord would complain, but
and then all try and come back in at 6:15. It could get quite interesting. But I don't know if you want to add any more on that from your side.
I don't have an official answer, but I just think just thinking about the logistics and experience at other sporting venues. I mean, it's lovely that the Taunton Cricket Ground is bang in the middle of the town centre, but you don't normally expect to go to an elite sporting fixture and sort of drop in and out of the venue and imagine that you can sort of pitch up with a few minutes to go and get straight back into the seat that you had earlier in the afternoon. So I think people need to be a little bit realistic about all of this. These are real kind of prime seats, fantastic sporting occasions, and if you got one, I'd hold on to it. It's frustrating when you talk about it in the abstract, but on the other hand, I think get in early, get yourself a decent seat, and enjoy the day.
I don't think I know Sarah and Virginia operations team, they don't do things just to be awkward or make members' lives difficult. That's
not what the people on Facebook say, Ben.
And even more than that, Ben. I mean, the stewards and the team are exceptionally sensitive to exceptional circumstances. So quite often on the chatter in social media, you will get a particular case which relates to some specific circumstances, and I am confident that the common sense prevails in those circumstances, and something exceptional is done. But you can't organise an entire fixture around one exceptional case. So again, I think I just ask people to be realistic and tolerant and patient, and try and, as I say, get in there and enjoy yourselves. And if you have a problem, there are some great staff around the ground and I think the feedback this year is generally speaking, more positive than last year as well, when we were coming out of COVID and there were a lot of new staff at the ground for the first time. That still is a challenge. The labour market is incredibly tight, and the training of new people for a new season is still a big logistical issue for the club. Nevertheless, I'm hearing that things are better than they were last year, which is a good thing, and I'll find out a bit more for myself this weekend, because I'm looking forward to coming down for a long weekend in Taunton for these two fixtures coming up, so people can come and moan to me if they want to. Leave Ben alone.
Are we going to have some sort of, I don't know, like a speaker's corner type thing, and you're just going to be sitting on a soapbox in the middle of the car park?
I'll wear my badge.
There is a members forum on Thursday evening as well, which will be publicised tomorrow. So if anyone does anything specific for Gordon,
is that going to be an online job? Is it, Ben? Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Looking forward to that. Maxie, you dropped off just as I was talking about tosses and sort of throughout your. I mean, you've got you would have played under a broad spectrum of different teams, different captains during your time at Taunton. What was generally the feeling that it was best to do, and did it kind of change as you had specific personnel overseas in different approaches from captains, etc.?
I think so. I think Taunton generally is quite hard to defend. So I think chasing is usually a good way to go with the powerful batting line that we've always had over the years. But again, if you get 200 plus, it's very, very difficult with it. If you get a couple of good divers in there, it's very, very difficult to chase as well if you take wickets. So I think it's much to be honest. I do like the idea of chasing with the powerful batting line up. But and a small ground and good wickets. So I'd predominantly err on the side of chasing. But and I always used to like I want to get there and do it, so I want to get the ball in hand as soon as possible. So I used to like bowling first, but that's a personal preference rather than the team thing. But yeah, I think we were pretty good chasing.
Great stuff. Right, just wandering through, make sure I've not missed off any listeners' questions. I don't think I have. And if I ever do apologise, but there's far too much of a thread to wander through this week. Gents, do we have any other business? I'm desperate to know what you're barbecuing, Gibbo. I saw you wandering past with tongs in hand a second or two ago.
Sausages, lamb chop, and some chicken and a steak.
Blimey, how many you got coming round?
It's just me and the wife.
Oh, bloody hell. Well, if you're in the Langport area at the moment and you are a bit peckish, just pop over to Gibbo's. Just follow the smell of some of the finest produce cooking on Gibbo's barbecue. Maxie, thanks very much for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Best of luck with the testimonial. Yeah, all the events are on the website, which is
www.maxwtestimonial.co.uk. There's brochures I think available in the club shop. I'll be doing a signing session I think during the Surrey game as well outside the shop. So if you want to get your brochures there, then I'll be around for a chat and happy to have a chat with anyone about cricket or otherwise. And yeah, the events are on the website. I'll try and keep you posted throughout the year and hopefully the club, and you can make it a few mentions on the commentary. That'd be great, Anthony.
I certainly will, Max. No problem.
Ben's not allowed to. You're not allowed to do it on the live stream, are you? There's all these...
I think Ben can check out the website and the tab.
Yeah. There's all these insanely complicated rules about testimonials about what you can and can't do for tax purposes and all this side of things. I don't envy you trying to stay on the right side of those, Maxie.
No, for sure.
Good stuff then. I think we're done for the night. We've just crept over an hour. Thanks for staying with us. I'll put my teeth in. Any other business?
No, just looking forward to beating Kent tomorrow night.
Yeah. So we got Kent tomorrow night down at Canterbury, and then 2 home games: Middlesex on Friday night under the lights, and then Essex Sunday afternoon. Looking forward to those. Hopefully catch up.
Even more looking forward to beating Essex.
He's not coming, is he, Gibbo?
I don't know. He might do.
Oh God.
They haven't played a game yet, Essex, have they?
No, they haven't. No.
That's very strange.
Let's hope they stay on 0 points.
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? That'd be absolutely lovely. Rightio, fellas. Maxie, it's been a pleasure. So we'll bump into each other at Taunton over the next few days. And thanks very much for listening. Just tipped over an hour, so I'll let you go and all go and have your tea. It's all right.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.